Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing some brief thoughts on episode 2 of Beware the Batman, entitled Secrets. And I have to say, if you've seen my episode 1 thoughts video, basically, I had some issues with some of the characterizations and some of the audio stuff, and I have to say, by and large, this episode just puts it over the top as far as polishing all that stuff up and putting it by the wayside. I had little trouble with this episode, with the exception of one nitpick I'll get to in a few minutes. But as far as the audio goes, it was crisp. It was complimentary with the music. It didn't sound like, pilot patchwork like the first episode did. It just sounded perfect as far as I was concerned. And I have to acknowledge the fact that I'm seeing an actor who is not, in fact, Cowboy Bebop's Steve Bloom being the voice of Batman, and I have to say I'm astounded by that. Whoever this guy is, he's doing a dead-on Steve Bloom if it isn't Steve Bloom. But I'm actually digging the voice in both Bruce Wayne and Batman in this episode, whereas I was having a little trouble with it, one-sidedly toward Bruce Wayne in the pilot. But I'm actually really digging all of the voices in this episode. They were all spot on, I thought. Loved seeing Barbara Gordon showing up. One of my favorite things, though, because I am a Sherlockian, that is to say, I've read the entirety of the Conan Doyle canon a couple times over, a couple of the stories even more than, 2 times. And the thing I loved about this episode was we have a Bruce Wayne, a Batman, who is a consummate detective in a very Sherlock Holmes kind of way, which speaks to me immediately. I loved it. I mean, when he walks in the room and he's got Katana and Alfred sitting there, and she calls him Major, and he's picking up on the fact that, oh, well, she knew him as a young child, and her father was his friend, and all this stuff. It astounds her, and that was a Sherlock Holmes moment right there. If you've ever read any of Sherlock Holmes stories, that was a perfect Sherlock Holmes moment. But it actually goes further. Later in the episode, when he visits the psychiatrist's office, Ravenclaw or whatever her name is, he does sort of the same thing. He immediately cases the joint. He's looking at the pictures, the doctorates, everything like that. I friggin' love this. I'm so excited for this. As far as Alfred goes, I was finding him much more palatable this time out. Kind of digging his character. I think I like that he is not so heavily into play, so to speak, and we had a little more with Katana herself. Love that line. I have to punch something, Absolutely love that. I love her character already, even though she's not even doing much yet. But she calls Bruce Wayne a marshmallow. Got to give her points. And then Magpie. We have the villain Magpie, who is a villain I'm largely not familiar with, but I was absolutely astounded by. I mean, they took aspects of Catwoman and Poison Ivy and put them into one character, but the character wasn't I don't think this character could have been substituted for either one of them. I think she was her own character. And the whole idea of stealing memories, you had, what was his name, Lunkhead or whatever, that Commissioner Gordon goes and visits, who's giving him clues while Batman is on the chase. I love that they came together, and Gordon is a potential threat. I also love that Kurtwood Smith is voicing, Commissioner Gordon. Absolutely awesome voice casting. I gotta say, by and large, this episode, if it continues to crop up on YouTube, being that I don't have cable, I'm actually going to be sticking with this show because I was thoroughly just blown away by how well crafted this episode was. The action sequences were dynamic. The only gripe that I have is the ever seemingly changing dimensions of Batman's cape. What the hell is up with that? One minute it's down his back, the other minute it's like a cloak. They can't seem to decide. I hope they do make a decision. But I enjoyed this episode thoroughly. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of it if you've seen it. And otherwise, that'll be it for me. So I'll catch you later. Peace.